Hey folks, Steve here with an unboxing video. Today we're going to be looking at Nations in Arms, Valmy to Waterloo, the Wars of Napoleon Bonaparte, 1792 to 1815. This is published by Compass Games. Now I'm going to say right away that I am very late to the party on this one. And in fact, this unboxing video is going to have probably a lot less utility than a lot of other unboxing videos I've done or will do in the future. The reason for that is that Nation in Arms was published a few years back by Compass Games. It is a new version of a slightly older Napoleonic Wars game that I'm not going to remember off the top of my head. If I was at my computer, I could tell you. But you can look at it on the Board Game Geek page. They have a link to what this game is. Like, it's re-implementing another game. Now, the older game didn't have this name, Nations in Arms. I have to imagine this is like a call or to remind people of this game, Empires in Arms, which is a old classic, Avalon Hill, sort of connected to the Australian design group who did Whiff, because it's the designer. Classic game on Napoleonic Wars. This is my unpunched copy, amazingly enough. I got this from somebody a few years back. Probably going to punch it someday because I would actually like to play it. But this game might be a more modern replacement for Empires in Arms, hence the name. So, Nations in Arms was published by Compass Games. They were going to do a reprint, but it seemed like, or based on what's happened, it sounds like they didn't get enough pre-orders for a second edition. And so what they ended up doing was Compass Games discovered in their warehouse that they had enough extra materials of the game to package materials up to make complete copies of the game that they could sell as sort of a restock. Companies do this, publishers do this, because inevitably there might be somebody who gets a game that has a messed up component, or maybe somebody wants to buy a replacement rulebook because the dog ate one or something. And so typically a publisher will have some level of stock of game components of particular games. And that's what Compass had, was some, extra boxes, extra counter sheets, extra rulebooks, and so on, where they were there to replace people's parts if they needed to. And I guess enough time has gone by that Compass said, well, we'll take those components, we'll put them into game copies, we'll make game copies to sell, and the people who really wanted this game can get them. And I'm one of those people. So as you're watching this unboxing video and you're interested in the game, I suspect that you're going to be forced into trying to buy any other copies that will be left at Compass Games. I suspect a lot of pre-orders went in, and that whatever they could produce, they have produced and sold. So by the time you're watching this, I'm not sure if the game will still be available as part of the restock. You may be needing to look at the secondary market for this one if it's something that's interesting to you. And for me, I enjoy the Napoleonic Wars. I really like GMT's Napoleonic Wars multiplayer CDG. I have a few other Napoleonic War games like Empires in Arms, like I showed. And this is a big sort of monster game. And gosh, this... it's interesting. They had the front cover, and then the bottom lid is flipped. You can kind of see, big map of Europe. It's hexes and counters. There are cards that sort of supplement the game, but it's not a card-driven game. But it's got a bunch of political rules and setting up, Westphalia and the Confederation of the Rhine, and all kinds of stuff like that are in this game. And the one thing I'm going to point out is, as I unbox this, I'm going to be looking to make sure they included all the components, just to make sure I'm not missing something. And then the other thing I should just point out is, if you're interested in this game, my understanding is the rules as originally produced were not very good. They were just sort of messed up, I guess. I don't know how bad it was. But somebody on Board Game Geek basically rewrote the rules, or Board Game Geek and Consim World rewrote the rules and made them much more coherent, and basically just made the game better. Just fixed the game. It fixed the game, and it wasn't somebody from Compass Games, I don't think, but Compass Games did post those rewritten rules on their website, but the latest version, I believe, is on Board Game Geek. So long story short, if you get this game and you want to play it properly, go to Board Game Geek or Consim World, look up the rewritten rules, print that out or use your PDF viewer or whatever you like best, and use those rules instead. Do not use the rules as written, because you're going to run into some goofiness, I guess, or some problems. So scenario book and rules book, you need to take a look at that. And I think there may be some player aid updates as well. If I do coverage of this game on the channel, we'll get into the specifics of that. So all of that preamble aside, I'm going to open up this sucker and see what's what. So I'm going to have to break the plastic, which I should be able to just do with my hands. Yep. And we'll get this sucker going. Again, we're going to be double checking to make sure I have everything in here. So, lid comes off. This game was a little hefty. So, okay. So we've got 2 dice. Yeah, I rolled well. All right. Black and white die, basic dice, nothing too crazy. And then we've got a Nation in Arms event deck. Let's see an example. Committee of Public Safety, 1792 card. Blah, 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 blah. Right? Okay, so plenty of cards here. And then we also have the tactical deck. So these are cards that you can get that are basically combat cards that you can play to modify combat. I forget the cadence on how often you get these, but they will be valuable. You blow them on some big important battle like Austerlitz or something for some good action. Now I'm not going to be able to fully verify, I guess, right this second if I have every single card. So it's going to be something I have to validate later, I guess. I don't want to bust these open quite yet. So based on just, here's the event deck. All the event cards are in here. Here's all the tactical cards. I'm going to guess I have everything I need there. Then we have, oh, okay. All right. Here comes a surprise, guys. This is a surprise. I'm caught off guard. What is that? Playbook, second printing, copyright 2019. So, I'm very confused. I'm a confused guy. Hold on a second. What's going on? I'm confused. Let me just look. I just need. Okay. The front box doesn't say 2019 on it. This playbook, I'm very confused. Okay. So I'm all right. I'm going to have to double check and see what the deal is with this. If this is a printed version of the rewritten scenario book, Compass Games is going to get a huge thumbs up from me, because I thought I was going to have to print that myself. But if this is indeed the fixed up version, then I'm going to lose my mind and declare them awesome, because this is great. Okay, yeah, I cannot tell just by looking at it. But as you can see, it's a full color rule book. They've got some examples of play in here, and this could very well be the rewritten scenario book. So we're going to set this aside, but this was a shocker. Second printing. Very confusing, because they called it a restock, and it was important to point out, like, this is made from reconstituted components. This is a surprise. I'm all excited now. All right, let's look at the rules of play. Similarly, second printing, copyright 2019, Compass Games. Yes, indeedy. And okay, now are they? I think maybe one of these guys, Bjorn, was the guy who did the rewriting. So maybe this is taking into account all the rewriting that was done. But gosh, I just don't know. Okay, there's a designer's note, second printing. I'm just going to read this out loud because I think it's important for those who are interested in this reprint. You're not going to be able to read it very well. I'm going to read it out loud. For the second printing, we decided to provide An updated rule and playbook which include errata and clarifications of the last years of play. Even if it's not a second edition, it was the opportunity to make some very few modifications, especially on cavalry, continental system, and army activation, which has been streamlined. There's a typo in here. I decided to add a revised version of the first coalition scenario and a new introductory scenario, Bonaparte in Italy. Well, that's cool. Shit. Sorry for the swear word. As a bonus, you'll find an alternative activation system for those who want less chaos and may find it hard to deal with activation levels. Well, holy crap. Well, what? Wow. Huh. Wow, okay. I'm caught off guard here, guys, and I don't know, gosh, I'm going to have to go to the forums on Board Game Geek and try to find out, like, does this include everything that was rewritten by Bjorn? I think it was Bjorn, even if I'm wrong, whoever that person is. Or is this, like, a different fork in rules revision? I don't know. It would be wonderful if this was like, this is it. I just have to use these, and I'm good to go. I hope that's the case. I really do. Okay, alright. Here's the component listing. So this is what we're going to double check. We've got 4 counter sheets. We're going to look at that. Game map is 2 different maps you put together. 2 dice, yep. Deck of 80 event cards. That looked to be about 80. A deck of 30 tactical cards. That looked about right. Playbook, rule book, and then we're going to get 3 cards of charts and tables. So I think we're going to get that. Again, I'm completely caught off guard, and I'm very surprised right now. I do not know what to do with myself. We're going to have to figure it out, guys. As a team, we're going to figure out what's going on after the fact on Board Game Geek. Okay, so we've got a terrain chart, as one would expect a game to have. Looks like it's pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy. We also have, let's set this one down a second. Trade chart, right, because different areas have trade values for the continental system. Production chart, so what does it cost to build a step of line infantry and so on. That all looks to be pretty straightforward. Minor resources, or minor powers resource chart. I'm not too on top of the economic system, so I'm not sure. And then some diplomacy modifiers. So that looks pretty good. And then we have a more general player aid card that has stuff for extended land movement. What does interception do? Avoidance, stacking, naval movement, attrition table, siege table, combat results table, cavalry pursuit, naval battle, major power resource chart. All this is that major power resource chart. Okay, so this is like the main player aid chart to me for most things. Like if you're playing a scenario that was a smaller scenario and you weren't doing a lot of diplomacy, you could probably get by with just this guy. I will say I would have liked to get more copies of these, just as a general thing. Like I think this game can play up to like 5 or 6 people, and it would be nice if I could have just these player aid charts to give to people. I can photocopy them, which is what I would do, or reformat them, or something, which is easy to do, no problem there. But I would have liked to see more of those. And now we're going to make sure we have our counter sheets. So these are the 2012 counters. So like I said, this is the part that was a restock. So counter sheet 1, counter sheet 2, counter sheet 3, and counter sheet 4. So yep, that looks all good. And you can see the different units here and leaders, all that good stuff. Naval units. Naval units actually don't have ships on them. They have like an admiral and an anchor, which is a little weird to me, just as from a design standpoint. Aesthetically, it's weird to me, but I get it. No big deal. Nothing too crazy. And then the map sheets, which I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to get this really out for this video. I don't have the space. But here's the Eastern European map. It's got your Russia, Turkey, you know, the Ottomans. They call it Turkey. There's like a whole thing about creating the Ottoman Empire, which seems like a anachronism, but I'm not going to worry about it there. And then I can tell that I've got it here, the Western Europe map. You can see there's Sweden. I'm not going to unfurl this one totally, but you can see Spain and all its guerrilla warfare glory here. And yeah, that's it. So it looks like I got everything. And again, I'm just going to call out the surprise of the updated rules of play and playbook. I really don't know what to think about this. Kudos to Compass Games. I mean, really, kudos. The fact that they went to the effort, and for us who wanted it, they printed brand new rule books and playbooks, and made some adjustments and took into account errata and clarifications. I mean, if these are the best available rules, and these supersede what I think it was Bjorn Enqvist, I'm not going to say that right. Sorry, Bjorn. If Bjorn's stuff is incorporated into this, then boom, you don't have to worry about what's on Board Game Geek. You just use this and you're good to go. That'd be great. Wow, I'm stoked. This is awesome. I'm very happy with this, and I look forward to rocking this game more in the months and I guess years to come. I'm not sure how soon I'll get to really crack into this. I might look to play it at a convention coming up. I'm not sure if there's enough interest for it, but I know at least one guy who kind of wants to play it. We could work it out. Before I close up this video, because it's getting a little bit long for an unboxing, I do want to point out that while there's a tagline here that says "Valmy to Waterloo" and it's 1792 to 1815, I believe, unless they've changed it now in this 2019 release, and that designer's note didn't mention it, you do not have a scenario that runs from 1792 to 1815. What you have is a 1792 scenario that is the War of the First Coalition, and then there's a couple of smaller scenarios that kind of cover the War of the Second Coalition, and then you get into the proper Napoleonic War scenarios from the War of the Third Coalition on, and I believe that is either, I think it's either an 1803 or an 1805 through 1815 Grand Campaign scenario. So if you wanted to play the whole thing, I guess what you would do is you'd play the 1792 scenario, some of the smaller scenarios, and then you jump into the 1805 Grand Campaign. There is not a 1792 through 1815 scenario. Somebody could probably figure out a way to make that work, but I think there's just, I don't know, there's probably some goofiness with that transition. I have to look at that. There's a cool magazine game called Pitt's War that came out that is similar. It's a really lightweight game. It might be fun to look at that too sometime on the channel. Some more coverage of that. But anyway, there you go. Nations in Arms unboxing. This is the 2019 restock, I guess, / update that came out. And if you want a copy, go buy it right now because you might not have much time left. So there you go. I'm going to take to the Board Game Geek forums in a flurry of activity here while this gets uploaded to YouTube. Thanks for watching, guys. If you stuck through that, what a roller coaster ride of unboxing. I like when the unboxing videos are surprising. Kind of like a Pragmatic War was. If you watch that unboxing video, I like surprises. It's great. So I hope you had fun with that, as I'm like just totally taken aback. Hit like if you liked the video, subscribe if you want to see more. I've been doing playthrough videos. I do instructional videos for some of the more complicated games like World in Flames, and I do unboxing videos, reviews, all that good stuff. So until next time, guys, take care and keep on gaming.